starts, I'm going underground. Well, let the brass band play and feet starts a pound, going underground.
Well, hello there. Now, I didn't film an intro to the Williamson Tunnels video the other day, so apologies for that. That's why you're staring at me at home doing one now. Because the video is really all about the historical aspect of the tunnel complex, maybe I should call it a labyrinth rather than a complex, because it really is quite amazing down there. But because of that, I wanted to tell you how I kitted myself out before I let you have a look at the actual video itself. So with regard to the video that I shot and which you will see, that was all taken using the Osmo Pocket 3, which is something that I've had for about 6 to 8 months now, and it absolutely blows my mind how good it is. It was the first occasion when I've actually had it set to its low light filming capabilities, so bear in mind that all of the underground sections that you're going to see were filmed with this set to the low light setting, and I'm just delighted with it. And of course the audio was recorded on the DJI wireless mic that comes with this little baby here. So that's the video side of things. Now with regard to the stills, I made a couple of changes. First of all, I fitted my neck strap to the EM1, which is quite unusual for me. I normally just have a wrist strap on it, but because I knew that I was going to be having to have this easily accessible at all times, plus the Osmo Pocket 3 on the K&F Concept selfie stick, I really had no choice. This had to go around my neck on the neck strap. Not my preferred way of working, but it certainly worked okay on the day. And then the other thing that I took with me and used for a lot of the stills down there in the tunnel network is an early Olympus strobe or flash gun. It's the FL36, which I think came out way back when Olympus were making the 4/3 SLR cameras, DSLR cameras rather than mirrorless, but nevertheless it works perfectly well with the EM1. It's a tilt and bounce flash gun. Not that I bothered with any of that, I just left it on TTL auto, and so most of the shots which you will easily spot as being flash illuminated were shot using this. Lens wise, of course, as if you needed to ask, everything was taken on the 12 to 40 2.8 Pro lens. So there we are, that was the kit for the day. Of course we had the high-vis jackets and the hard hats. Boy, do I look a star in that hard hat. I hope you enjoy some of the video. Audio wise, I'm going to do a voiceover for you because part of the guided tour, and by the way the guides gave us an absolutely tremendous day, but part of their audio is muffled and is missing because they're too far away from me, so some of it I am putting in my own voice over the top. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll maybe catch you at the end. If not, enjoy your photography and I'll see you all very soon. Into the video, down underground.
And it was originally a 2-story cellar system, and we're standing where the top level of the cellars was. Basically two tunnels, if you like, side by side, going that way. The top level of the cellar system was demolished when the Williamson buildings were taken down. There's a better painting copy down below of that, but that is the set of buildings that he put up. We don't have a photograph Not a single photograph looking at the front of the Williamson buildings. So we had to rely on that painting, which is all we've got from about 1858, I think.
Okay.
And so they stood there until 1939. But what they think is this area here had been a lift shaft. So we're standing level with the top of the so where the top level of the cellar system was, and the floor of the second level is down there, and this seems to have been a lift shaft that probably served five floors above and 2 cellars below. What we're imagining, I think, is something like
A bit like a dumbwaiter.
a dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
A big version of a dumbwaiter.
A big box
Yeah.
with a pulley and rope haul, probably, to move goods, because they were commercial buildings, so moving goods between 7 stories, if you like.
So this section here, they believe, would have been used as a coal store for the property above. Of course, in the 19th century, all heating was done by coal fires, and obviously here we have the entrance hatch down which the coal would have been tipped in years gone by. Somebody's kindly left their spade there. And just before we left the main sort of entranceway, I spotted the weeds growing on the wall here and grabbed a quick shot of that with the EM1. I just like the way that the spotlight there is illuminating the actual greenery. And then we go down another level, and I think this is where I turn right and go into level 2, because of course these modern excavations start at level 1. And this is the coal store. They've put some copies of paintings of Joseph and his wife on the wall. And as you can see, the Friends of Williamson Tunnels was started in 1996. Practically every corner you look in, there are holes and gaps and different excavations leading off in different directions. And here is a plan map of the tunnels, both already known about and explored, or at least thought about, and we are in that section top left with the red circle around it.
We've only got one.
And here in level 2 are just some of the artefacts which they have uncovered over the many years which it's taken them to clear out these tunnels. There's everything down here, from bone china, beer casks, clay pipes, you name it, they have sort of found it really. Even a collection of china dolls' heads there. Many glass bottles. And a lot of these items are completely undamaged. So they would have been, I don't know, why throw them away, but quite remarkable really. These earthenware jugs for keeping spirits in, glass bottles for lemonade and all sorts of things. Medicine bottles. Absolutely mind-blowing what they have rescued from down here. Now bear in mind that every one of these spaces was full almost to the ceiling with rubble and rubbish, and it all had to be taken out by buckets and barrows, and then everything, the spoil was sifted on the surface to make sure that they didn't miss any actual small artifacts like coins.
I have to say that friends of Williamson Tunnels have done an absolutely amazing job down here. This is the Paddington section, which we have only just started to explore, and already it's just mind-blowing. And the amount of paraphernalia that they have uncovered down here is just mind-blowing. Everything that you see has been recovered when they were clearing out all the rubble, because every tunnel down here was backfilled with soil and brickwork and stones. Don't worry, the tunnels were used for the filming of The Cask, which I believe is Edgar Allan Poe. I mean, everywhere you look, cobbler's lasts and lock plates and signs. Absolutely phenomenal.
So this little section here, I just wanted to give you a bird's eye view looking down through this fenced off section, looking down into the layer beneath us. Everywhere you look, jugs and bottles and bits and pieces from days gone by, goodness knows. And of course, one of the visitors had to leave a modern plastic bottle behind, didn't they? And you'll notice on the walls that there are these signs, in this case saying nowhere. I think they are the sort of nicknames, if you like, of the friends' names for the particular sections.
These chambers really are quite remarkable. Of course, nobody knows the real reason why Joseph Williamson had all these constructed. Nobody knows, for example, who was responsible for actually constructing these wonderful brick arches. Clearly they were not done by any kind of amateur. Clearly they were done by somebody who knew what he was doing. It's just fascinating. And of course, nearly every item that you can see has local connections, like the breweries, and no doubt on a lot of the glass bottles. It's just so impressive down here. And I hope it's not too echoey, which is something that I was concerned about. The stills that I'm going to be able to do aren't going to be mind-blowing. Simply a record of what's in here, really. Anyway, time we moved on to one of the lower levels.
So here I am going down to level 3, as it is now. And I'll give you a close-up of a Boots the Chemist bottle here. Goodness knows what was in that. Cough mixture, maybe? I don't know. But listen to the commentary for this next section, because this is quite interesting. It gives you an idea exactly how much stuff they had to move.
Through this arch here to what we now know as level 4, but of course we didn't call it level 4.
It's still level 3 then.
It was still level 3 then. But we crawled through there and we were literally crawling over the top, and our backside was scraping on the brick.
Fortunately, if you can see them, there's little orange flashes that we've pinned on the wall.
Yes.
There, over there. There's one up in that corner somewhere. That's where the spoil level.
That's where it was.
And as they came round the corner here, sliding down, there was just enough space here, wasn't there, to crawl along the top.
Good
Everything
God.
else to the right and to the left was full to the roof. So, for years there was no way of knowing how deep it was, how far any chamber went. It was just unknown for Bloody years.
So that gives you an idea of exactly how much spoil they had to take out of these passageways, these cavernous tunnels really. And what we do know for sure, as I make my way down the stairs, is that Williamson was actually quarrying stone here in what they refer to as slot quarries, and then selling the stone for building material work.
Touch the roof, because if we get our way, you'll never be able to touch the roof again. And people used to laugh at us and say, oh, that'll never happen.
And if you've managed to hear that commentary from Chris, when they were excavating these particular chambers, they were touching the ceiling. And they used to joke that if they got their own way, you'd never be able to do it again. And my goodness me, they were so right. It's ridiculous, really. So here's Tom looking down from level 3 into level 4. And I'll just give you a bird's eye view looking down. You can quite clearly see how neatly this has all been quarried away. It's just an awesome space. I really can't begin to tell you how impressive it is.
Gotcha. That's about 60 feet below ground. This chamber itself is 12 metres.
So, as Tom said, it's 60 feet below ground here. We're on bedrock. And clearly this is where they finished the quarrying and then constructed all the brick archways over the top. Absolutely fantastic brickwork. And we're just having a quick discussion here before I make my way down. This wonderful set of scaffolded staircase, all of which has been provided by friends of Williamson's Tunnels. Just look at the size of this place. No wonder they regard it as the cathedral. And as I make my way back up the stairs, we come to another party that was behind us. As I say, I was very fortunate. They gave myself and Sean, the other videographer that you can catch sight of, they gave us a one-off special tour, if you like. And the Friends of Williamson's Tunnels were patronised by His Grace the Duke of Westminster before he passed away a few years ago, and more recently Mr. Dan Snow, who many UK viewers will know from his TV presentation work. He has become a patron of the Friends of Williamson's Tunnel. And here we are, making our way back out into the sunshine, above ground in Paddington.
No rain.
Beautiful day. No rain.
Everybody actually needs that. Just they do.
And here we are in Paddington. All Saints Church over the way. And what used to be the Bears Paw public house here in front of us, now converted into apartments.
Now, just to give you an idea of the location, this is a 19th century map of Paddington in Liverpool, showing Williamson's houses on Mason Street. The Paddington buildings where we have just been underneath, and the Bears Paw public house as it used to be known, and then finally St Mary's Church. Before I give you a view of all that is left, sadly, of Williamson's house, his own house, on Mason Street.
Well, here we are. We've just come up into the fresh air from the Paddington section of the tunnels, and we're waiting for a group to go ahead of us down into the other section below the car park here, Behind me, hopefully you might be able to see the remains of Williamson's house in the distance. And yeah, it's fabulous, really interesting. I hope the video gives you some impression of the scale of the excavations so far in Paddington, and some of the finds down there are quite really amazing, breathtaking almost. So we're now going to see what the other section looks like down here. The stills are going to be average at best. Record shots, we'll see. But at least I'm fingers crossed that the video does the business. I'll catch you after our second section of the tour. Hope you like the hard hat. Trendy or what?
So here we are descending into the underground section of Williamson's house on Mason Street. And although this first section that you're seeing is open to the air, it was originally, of course, covered over. And this is the kitchen area with 4 large ranges. And at the back of the kitchen here were 2 large windows allowing daylight in from the yard beyond. And probably over the top of this would have been a garden area. Now, a surprising find coming into shot right now are a set of 4 gentlemen's urinals, and you're probably wondering why on earth have they got urinals here in a kitchen for a domestic house, and it's because immediately prior to World War I the area was occupied by various units of the Territorial Army. Here's an illustration dated 1841 of Mason Street, and sadly that's all that's now left of the original house. But venturing into other sections of the cellar area, we have the wine racks here. Now the wine bottles are all new, modern, not original. But yet again you see row upon row of artifacts which have been collected, tools, all sorts of things going on down there. And these passages, it's a warren, it's a rabbit warren. But just look when we get through this short section here, this fantastic set of stairs which lead absolutely nowhere.
Fabulous stairs, look at those bull-nosed stairs, fantastic. I appear to have lost the rest of my group, albeit there are only 3 of them. So, guess I need to go and find them.
And as I go off in search of my friends from the group, I'm just taking a look at a fireplace with some old fire irons which have been discovered, various hand tools, lots of which may have been left over by the army when they occupied the site in the 1890s, that sort of period. Williamson was first and foremost a very successful businessman. He was heavily involved in the tobacco trade and a very wealthy man in his own right. And of course he was by no means stupid. He quarried the stone from Paddington and no doubt this area as well. But in later years he became more and more philanthropic, and immediately following the Napoleonic Wars his main aim was to give employment to many of the unemployed soldiers that came back from the wars. Now as we descend down towards the chamber known as the banqueting hall, this particular section of passageway is extremely narrow, and it reminded me of one of the passageways into the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. It's absolutely stupendous down here. Quite how they quarried this stone and then into this absolutely cavernous banqueting hall. It's absolutely crazy. It's often said that Williamson would get his workers to just dig for the heck of it. Now you can see that section there, which is normally barred to members of the public, but Tom and Chris very kindly gave us access to this, which you will see in a few seconds. But the banqueting hall, which you are about to see, is just phenomenal. The height of it and the length of it, it's just unbelievable. And the far wall there that you can see is actually underneath the front wall of Williamson's house above us on the street level. For those of you with photographic interest, the ISO was set to auto down here, and for shots like that the flash would have been pointless. So it was relying on high ISO and good stabilization from the IBIS in the EM1. There's a monochrome shot of that very, very narrow staircase, and here you can see Sean going ahead of me into this area which is normally closed off to the public. Tom was very gracious in giving us access to this, and boy oh boy, if you suffer from claustrophobia, this is as near to potholing and caving as you are likely to get, in my opinion. Very restricted area indeed. And if you look at all the scaffolding, now bear in mind this has all been constructed not from the floor up but from the roof down, and simply manhandling these sections of scaffolding poles into position must have been an absolute nightmare of a job. They brevetted part of the infill behind there to keep the whole thing stable, which I guess is one of the reasons why the public aren't normally granted access to this particular area.
Mad, aren't we?
Absolutely.
They don't get any madder.
And we did that every week. For how many years? Bloody hell. But we loved it, didn't we?
And as Chris was saying there, while I make my way up this extremely narrow stairwell, as Chris was saying, I think they were all absolutely bonkers doing this. Everything taken out, buckets, chains, ropes, spades, just pure physical graft. Now to finish off, I thought it was well worth paying homage to the man who created all this. He was buried at St Thomas's Church, which the site of it is quite close to the waterfront by Liverpool 1. And the Friends of Williamson Tunnels actually managed to find his grave. And I've got a shot here of his headstone. Quite a character. Joseph Williamson, who knows, he may well have been a shareholder in the Liverpool and Manchester Railway. He may have been at the opening ceremony. He may have seen Rocket doing its thing in the trials, who knows. There's a lot that we still don't know about him, but my goodness me, what a character.
So from the kitchen area at the rear of the house, I'm going to say I'm exhausted, I'm wet and damp, and I'll see you all next time for another, maybe not such adventurous video. Bye for now.